Welcome back. We want to explore the state of the nation. And when it comes to state of the nation, it's a potpourri of a lot of things, from national security to sub-national issues to the economy and all of that. But we started off the conversation with a controversial judgment by Justice Peter Lifu, who has gotten significant reprimand from the appellate court about, quote-unquote, judicial rascality. And we went on to talk about what concerns you directly, which has to do with the pump price, or PMS. I've been looking at the boards of the fuel stations, and I still see 1,281 naira, 1,280 something naira as to the price. But we're all aware that due to the de-escalation and the agreement due to be signed on Friday, the cost component, with the highest cost component, which is crude oil, which is priced internationally in dollars using the Brent, has now come down to below $80, just oscillating around 70 something to $80. So we're hopeful that in the shortest possible time, if there's no breach of that agreement, sometime on Friday, it's going to keep decelerating, perhaps to go down way down to where it started. But this is the tricky part. When it's high, our government makes money. When it's low, our government doesn't make money like they should. But that is just a beginning. But we still need to talk about national security. We still need to talk about subnationals. Let me bring in our guest, who is going to help us explore that conversation in just a moment. The President General of Isoko Development Union Worldwide is joining us on the program this morning. Prof. Chris Akpotu, good morning, sir, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Geoffrey.
So I know that we've explored the issues around the challenges of Isoko Nation in terms of your electricity challenges and all of that. But because we've explored that conversation, let's broaden the conversation to issues around the nation and hear your comment, because you are a stakeholder in the Nigerian state as a leader of an ethnic nationality. And that has to do with what we're seeing as a very disturbing trend in terms of national, I like to call it insecurity, because when this whole madness from this terrorist started, it was domiciled, sadly, in the north, and specifically in Borno State, where they took maybe 14 local government. Graciously, the government was able to fight that. But now, rather than domiciled in one geographical area, they are all over the place in different forms. So they are terrorists, bandits, and kidnappers. What's your take on how we should begin to look at things differently in terms of national security?
Thank you very much, Geoffrey. While I want to address the issue of the security that you've just drawn attention to, I equally don't want to run away from the issue of electricity, because it's of major concern as far as Isoko ethnic nationality is concerned. And I do know that sometime last month, you granted the Commissioner for Works and Public Information your platform, where he spoke about Isoko is properly lighted 24 hours. I have to let the whole world know that that was not correct. We are suffering electricity issues just like as many other parts of the country. And ours, for the past 10 to 15 years, we've been having serious blackout issues. So I just need to let the whole world have the facts that we are not in any way properly lighted. We've been experiencing serious blackout. The reason why I want to let the whole world know that I'm aware that our listening governor is into a whole lot of efforts, considering the fact that the sector has been liberalized, to see how he can improve on electricity as far as the state is concerned. So if somebody comes in here to tell us that Isoko is lighted, we might not be beneficiaries of what the governor is already doing. So I just wanted that area properly put in perspective so that the whole world can know that Isoko is suffering that too. And when the benefits will begin to come, let us be beneficiaries. Then coming to the issue of security is of concern. Is of major concern as far as the entire nation is concerned, because a whole lot of things can no longer go well. We can't live our lives the way we used to live it just because of the situation we find ourselves. And I want to take a stretch in the direction of the fact that we had suffered inability to be able to be proactive as far as the security situation is concerned, because when it started down there in the north, people would have only believed that it's going to end there. But I do a reflection on what I learned in school when I was a secondary school student, far back 1979, 1980. I read a history book written by Professor Latubosun, where he discussed in, I think in chapter 2, he talked about this spread starting from far away Middle East down to the northern part of Africa, and gradually it's been moving on. And I can assure you that if there is a country at the other side of Nigeria, if not checked, it will equally get to that country. So our inability to be proactive has brought us to this point that we are. But essentially, what we should do, having a very serious national issue like this, we should be able to rally around government, provide the necessary support, either in terms of intelligence gathering or whatever, to be able to ensure that we're able to take care of this particular menace that is before us. Our sense of being attentive should be heightened. We must be seen to be very, very attentive to our security situation. In fact, I can tell you that right there in Isoko, by maybe when I leave your studio here, the next line of action we want to take is to be able to have a meeting to heighten the awareness in relation to the level of insecurity, because most of the rural communities might not be fully aware of the extent to which this challenge has come as far as we are concerned.
And so before we leave the Isoko matter, I did note that you talked about the efforts of the state government, maybe in passing. I'd like us to expand on that, because as we speak, from what you have confirmed to us, your people are still without power supply. So are you absolving the state government of any form of blame in the continued state of darkness in Isoko? And this is important, especially based on the amendments to electricity legislation that now, enable states to provide interventions, to provide power supply for their people.
As much as possible, the previous government, before the very current government, left this issue unattended to. And like I have gathered even from the Vines and maybe nosing around, we're aware that the state government is trying as much as possible. I do a reflection on the past 2 weeks. The governor granted a very serious interview with Arise Ojiokwe, where he was able to bring to the public the fact that several efforts have been put in place to be able to re-energize most of the stations that are the electricity stations that are down, and see how Isoko can be a beneficiary of the efforts that he's trying to do. He had to do this for the Ndokwa people too. When he visited, he drew the attention of the Ndokwa people to the fact that he's making efforts in that direction. So we just have to believe that a governor that has in recent times shown commitment to his words, he will be able to do all of that for us. But for the previous governments, they left this matter unattended to.
Now let's get to the matter of national security, and you did talk about proactiveness. Let's relate that to what we're seeing. Is it, widespread enough in its approach to tackling? Is that observation about proactiveness or the lack of it, do you see it in the approach of the different security agencies to tackling this particular issue? And I ask this because that is often, the excuse presented by spokespersons of persons of the administration. They say that unlike past governments, that the APC government is not in denial and is in fact, doing everything within its power to tackle insecurity, and yet we are where we are, with the results to the contrary. So do you see that approach?
Yes. I won't really sit down here and say that the government so far is not doing their best, but essentially it's been quite a reactive approach rather than being proactive. But I equally want to say that this security concern should be something that should bother all of us as a people. It's not something we leave basically just at the doorstep of the government. The government, fine, should take the lead, but all of us should be involved, because this industry all of a sudden has been so amplified, has been so bloated, and we see our fellow Nigerians being involved in perpetrating this particular industry. And not until all of us behaviorally, we come back to ourselves and say that, look, we should be out of this. It will be just too difficult for the government alone to fight, because in the last budget that was presented, we had a budget for defense. What was it meant for? The issue is that, is it being actually dispensed in that direction? So all of us behaviorally should be concerned about how we can do that. But like I said earlier on, we should move away from the blame game. We should move away from just being reactive. Rather, we should be proactive. And how can we be proactive? Our sense of intelligence gathering must equally be heightened.
Prof, we don't have the luxury of time, so we're going to wrap it up here. But we must thank you so much. I think the two main issues you've explained the much you can, talking about national security, because this affects both Isoko people and the rest of us around the country, and also the issue of Isoko Nation. Just as an addition, when the commissioner came, we also had somebody from the Isoko Nation also come here to counter the position. And we're also waiting for all of the feedback. We did appeal to the government to say, okay, go find out what are the issues before we establish claims, and we're waiting to get the response. We hope that you can get what you want, because you're also part of the Nigerian state and you're a big contributor given the oil that is on your land. But I must thank you, Prof, for coming on the program. Professor Cries Akpotu is the President General, Isoko Development Union Worldwide. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jeffrey. I will always be with you again.
Thank you. And that's it on the program. Thank you for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama.
Sunrise Daily is up next, so stay on with Channels Television. I am Bukola Koga. Bye for now.